Hey there, everybody. Happy Tuesday. Okay, so welcome to my channel. It is 9:32 in the morning on Tuesday, and I found a recipe that is so fantastic. I just have to share it, and I want people to know about this website because every single recipe I've seen on her website is amazing. You just find a recipe and that's your go-to website and you think, well, I'm going to hit a loser eventually. Not here. Not here. The Chunky Chef. The Chunky Chef. Crock pot mac and cheese. Now, what I was in search for, I've got several. I've got Crock Cooks. I've got Trisha Yearwood's recipe, which is fantastic, which uses, I'm going to take out what I used here. I used shells. And I used, grab that out of I used a 12-ounce can of evaporated milk. Okay, so let me show you what I used. You can use elbows or any shortcut. I didn't have any elbows. I had small shells. 1 12-ounce can of evaporated milk. 4 tablespoons of unsalted butter. Any combination of cheese you want, but you need 2.5 cups of cheddar cheese. You have to grate it with your own box cutter. You can't don't buy the already shredded crapola. Don't. Grate your own. Okay, so I used a combination of Colby, sharp orange, and extra sharp white. And then 2 to 3 ounces of cream cheese, which it took forever for Wegmans to have cream cheese on the shelf. I mean, really on the shelf. All of February and the first part of March, I couldn't find it at all. So I went to Tops and got the spreadable one, but because you couldn't find it at Tops because everyone was going to Tops to buy the cream cheese. I don't know what was up with cream cheese, but it was just gone. Okay, so this recipe, I really said, nah, that's not going to work. And I almost reverted back to my usual Trisha Yearwood or Sweetie Pie. I have all these different mac cheeses. I do. And they're all cool, but I wanted a no boil. So this calls for you to just spray your crock pot, and I used my Family Dollar Fresh Foods canola no stick cooking spray. Shake that up and spray your bottom and your sides of your crock pot really good. Pour your pound of pasta right in there. I think she called for like almost a teaspoon, 3/4 teaspoon of kosher salt. I didn't have kosher salt. I used a pinch of, I used this. A little bit of Himalayan salt ground up. My aunt had gotten that for me for Christmas. Time to refill the white one. So I used a little bit of that and a little bit of my regular non-iodized salt to make maybe a 1/2 teaspoon as I'm doing lower sodium. So it called for 1.5 cups so that 1/4 teaspoon of pepper, 1/4 of ground mustard. If you don't have ground mustard, you can use, and I did use, just regular French's yellow mustard. Like a pinch. You can use paprika, 1/4 of a teaspoon, or cayenne pepper. Either or. I used both. I used 1/8 of a teaspoon of paprika and 1/8 of a teaspoon of cayenne pepper. I decided to go with a savory because I'm going to make a buffalo chicken macaroni and cheese because I have a chicken breast that I poached up yesterday. So I mean, once you have your macaroni and cheese made, you can just add to it and do whatever you want to do. So I'm using up odds and ends, and I like to play with my macaroni and cheese. So you can make this a child style, like yummy back in the day, old school. Just put your macaroni in plain. Add your 1.5 cup of chicken broth. I used a Goya packet of reduced sodium chicken broth with 1.5 to 2 cups of water. Spread out your pasta in an even layer. Got your seasonings in there. She's using a half a cup of, or 1/4, I believe. Let me look. I don't want to show her recipe. I want to lead you there. She's using 1/4 of a cup of heavy whipping cream. I didn't have that, so I just used a little more than 1/4 of a cup, like maybe a half a cup of 2% milk. And then just cover it and cook it on low for 1 hour. So your chicken broth, your heavy cream, or your plain milk, your seasonings, no cheese goes in it. Cover it low for 1 hour. Take your cover off. It'll be kind of looking crunchy and glumpy, but just get in there with your spoon and stir it up. Pat it back down. Cover it for another 10 to 15 minutes on low. Shred your cheese. Cube up your cream cheese, or if you can't find that kind of cream cheese, again, get the spreadable kind. Grate up your combination of cheese. After 10-15 minutes, you don't want it to be crunchy pasta, but you do want it chewy. You don't want it crunchy, but it'll be chewy. If it's not, throw a little bit more milk in it or something, right? And if you have sour cream, I'm just going to add to the recipe because that's what I'm doing. I'm going to end up adding to it. But her recipe is perfect as is. I put a little bit of garlic in it, a little bit of cayenne, a little bit of salt, a little bit of paprika, a little bit of plain French's mustard, and 2.5 cups of, I use this to measure, which is a 3 cup. My mug that a cousin gave me for Christmas. I love that. Thank you, Kirsty. I still have it. And Patrick, I used Colby Jack. I used extra sharp orange, and I used sharp orange and extra sharp orange. 2 to 3 ounces of this cubed, or 2 to 3 ounces. So you just cut up your cream cheese, shred up your cheese, and then a half a cup of mozzarella cheese. And I should have said in the very beginning, with the chicken broth and the milk or the heavy cream and your seasonings, you're going to use 3 tablespoons. Was it 3? Yeah, 3 tablespoons of unsalted butter. So that'll melt in there with the chicken broth and your milk on low. Take off the cover, pat it back down, stir it up, pat it down. Throw your cheese back in, turn it off. And in 10 minutes, you've got the most beautiful, I don't even know how to explain how beautiful this is other than to do this. Look. And just stir it up, and it's done. We're talking lovely. I got a shadow here, so you really can't see how the color it is, but there it goes. Now you can see it. The spoon is sinking down in it. It is so delicious. Less than 2 hours done. The pasta is cooked. The cheese is completely melted, and it's beautiful. So I say, get on over to the Chunky Chef. If you want a no-boil slow cooker, which I still don't know how I ever lived without a slow cooker. I'm so grateful to my children for getting this for me. I use it every day for something. I find something to play. I love playing in the kitchen and finding something. So I've always played with macaroni and cheese. I will add broccoli to it. I will add, you can make it a really healthy one, a really savory one, a really old school child one. At this point, you could take it out of your slow cooker, stick it in a casserole dish if you wanted the breadcrumbs on it, stick it in the oven. I've done the custard style with eggs, sour cream, cream cheese, and cheese, and evaporated milk. I've done the roux, where you start the roux, you pour it over. I've done so many different, recipes. This is a new go-to one, and I love it. And so from there, I'm just going to add my chicken, add my Frank's hot sauce, a little bit of lemon. I've already got the butter in there, so I don't need that. And some crumbly blue cheese, and chop up some celery, and just have a buffalo sauce macaroni and cheese. You could also add broccoli to it, or you can, I've gone southwest of the border with this. I've added cream of corn and corn kernels and black beans to it with a little bit of tomato sauce, and it's delicious. I've done like a creamy sloppy joe with ground beef to it. It's beautiful on its own, but you could start a lot of recipes from it, is what I'm saying, and go, who doesn't like a little bit of macaroni and cheese with everything? I do. Okay, so for this recipe, it's 1,002 milligrams of sodium per serving. It makes 6 servings. Look at all those stars it's got. So 10 minutes prep time. 1 hour and 30 minutes. Done. Yeah, that's everything. So just let it sit there till it cools. If you want to reheat it, you might just, if it dries out, which mine never does, but if it does, just add a splash of milk to it, or a little bit more chicken broth, or a splash of water to it. Believe me, it's fine. And it's the best recipe I have found so far for a no boil, and I've tried them all, so I had to mention it. Chunky Chef. I will list the link. Don't go with the low-fat, reduced-calorie evaporated milk. It won't work. Use the whole evaporated milk. Elbows or shells or little squiggly noodles. A little shortcut. What else? Yeah, and I'm just gonna pull my chicken and start throwing it in with my Frank's hot sauce, and so I'm gonna kick it up one more level. If I can find my Frank's hot sauce, where did it go? Uh-oh. I have to go to the store and get, there it is. Red hot Frank's. I already got my garlic in there. The other thing you can do, I'm saving those. The other thing you can do, I found a really cool, if you have your own basil, if you already got basil, make your own pesto. But if you've got a basil pesto from Wegmans, you can throw your pesto into your macaroni and cheese, and it's to die for. It's really, really good. If you don't mind a little bit of pine nut or sunflower seeds or cashews, there's a mix in there. So I just mix it. Have fun with it. And sometimes before I put the hot sauce and the crumbled blue cheese in one part of it, I'll put the pesto in the other part of it with the chicken. So it comes out delicious each time. I never had put the mozzarella in it before, but it really worked good, a half a cup. That's it. That's my recipe share. Thank you to Chunky Chef for this idea, because I can really play with it and layer it and have a lot of fun. And go visit her website. She's got a creamier version. She's got a ton of great recipes on stove, in the crock pot, all over the place. Just really good recipes. All right, that's my share. Have a happy Tuesday. Bye.